Scenario number one. Is it okay for your significant other to hang out with the opposite gender on a one-on-one?
Uh, I think it depends. I think it depends if like the relationship, they talked about it. Like if your significant other is not really okay with it, I mean, like, should you really be doing it? But at the same time, like, if they talked about it and they're both fine with it, I think it's okay. I think it's one of those things where maybe, if one party is okay with it, the other party is okay with it, and they're both fine, then yeah. But if one isn't, then I think it's probably a good idea to consider your significant other's feelings and stuff.
I guess that would make sense because it's highly dependent on the other person. How about would you be uncomfortable if you don't know them well enough? Or how long?
Like if I was like the boyfriend,
Mhm.
I don't know. I feel like I'd have to like get to know them first. Like if they just met, I think it'd be kind of hard for me.
Mhm.
What about if like they've known each other for a long time?
How long?
Like they were like best friends before, like 3 years already.
I
Like
guess
say they hung out before like you guys even started dating before that. Like say they hung out like, before.
they've hung out before and they're best friends.
Yeah.
4 years.
Yeah.
Were they ever interested in each other?
No.
That's
Platonic relationship.
platonic, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about that. That's kind of well. I'll have to meet the person to be able to understand who they are and how they are around my significant other, of course.
Okay, what if he's liked her before?
Okay, then clearly
But like that was like 5 years ago.
I don't give a fuck.
And they were like friends after.
That's kind of hard because I'd say the feelings probably still linger around because there's absolutely no way that someone's gonna still be around even though like they had a feeling going on. And those feelings definitely do linger around. There's no way he probably didn't give it up. And of course, why would he still be friends? There's no way.
I don't know. Maybe he just accepted it. He's like, oh, like
Accepted it, really?
Yeah. Maybe he's like, oh, okay. Like if she doesn't want to, have a relationship, like we'll just be friends.
Well, I had a friend, ex-friend, who still confessed his undying love to this girl he's been with since like probably middle school or high school, and now they're already done with college. I don't know how that's gonna happen.
Yeah, but not everyone's like that. Okay, what if does it depend on like the scenario? Like what if they were just grabbing like dessert?
One who just grabs dessert.
I don't know. We grab dessert.
So what if they're just grabbing dessert?
Yeah, okay. Or like what if they went to dinner? One-on-one dinner.
One-on-one dinner?
That's one-on-one to the movies.
That's a date.
Mm. What about
what would be considered a date?
I don't know. What if it was a group setting?
Okay, I probably wouldn't be as weirded out.
Like what if it was like them two plus like one other person?
So a third wheel?
Yeah. But like not a third wheel because they're not dating, right? They're just hanging out.
I guess it wouldn't be that bad since it's a third person.
On to the next clip.
So scenario number 2. Is it weird if your significant other gets spoon-fed by another person?
It's just funny you should ask this one, actually. This is a funny one because several years ago, I think I was at like a group social event, and I think I was like dating someone at the time, and we were like sitting there, and everything was like fine, and we were all eating, and then all of a sudden, like this one guy from across the table just looks at my girlfriend or my ex-girlfriend at the time, and he's like, he like digs a whole spoonful of like whatever it was. Then he like looks at her, and he's like, "Hey, try this." Everyone at the table was just staring at him like, what's going on? So I think it's a little weird. Maybe not a little. I think it's pretty weird. I don't think you should be feeding other people food if they're in a relationship. I think that's a little awkward. Unless like, it's your cousin or
How about if I was feeding you it?
Huh?
How about if I was feeding you it?
This would be kind of strange. Like
It hates me.
Like it just doesn't like sit right with me. It doesn't look right. It doesn't seem right. Like it doesn't. Like, why would anyone else be feeding my significant other than me or her mom?
Yeah, I guess it would make sense that.
Like, is it not weird? Like, if
I mean, it is weird.
Like, say you're like dating a girl, right?
Mm.
And you look over and you see some guy like with a whole like spoonful of like cheesecake, and your girlfriend's like sitting there, mouth open, like taking the cheesecake.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
That's pretty weird. It's intimate. It feels intimate.
Well, yeah.
That's like something a significant other would do.
Yeah.
Next clip. Next clip. Next clip. Next clip. Next clip. Next clip. Next. Do you think it's okay for your significant other to stay friends with their exes?
Come to think of it, I think I have a friend who kind of went through this scenario. Is that he had an ex, right? And he also has this girlfriend during that time, and she felt uncomfortable that he was still friends with her. However, he thought that it's still okay to be friends with her because they left off on good terms, and there's nothing really negative that affected their entire relationship. So he felt like it was still okay to be friends with her. However, during that relationship, that girl that he was with during that time was not comfortable whatsoever. And that problem has severely affected their overall relationship throughout their time. And I say it's a really sticky situation because I feel like it's heavily dependent on how the relationship ended and who the people are. Because
Okay,
say if it was like healthy, right? And it was okay and they left off on good terms, I feel like it shouldn't be that bad to be friends with their exes. But then again, there still can be some scenarios where it's kind of weird that they're still really close, you know? Or if it's like really bad, say they ended off on bad terms, and say one of them got cheated on, and yet they still want to be friends. It's kind of weird.
yeah, but like, isn't there a saying where like, even though you've broken up, even if you ended on good terms or bad terms, like, wouldn't there always be feelings between like significant others in the past, like your exes?
What do you mean?
Like, at least one person still like has feelings. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So like, say you had a girlfriend and she was still friends with her ex, but they ended on good terms, right? Like, they talk like every now and then, not really, but like, how would you feel about that? Say you're sitting there one day and like your girlfriend's like on her phone and she gets a text message and you're like, "Hey yo, who's that?"
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "Oh, like, this is my ex boyfriend. Like, he was just asking me how I'm doing."
Yeah, that'd be weird. Like out of the blue, it's just like, oh yeah, that's my ex. It's like, huh?
Okay, but then she was like, "Yeah, like we ended on good terms. We just still check up on each other like every now and then." Like,
I don't know. That's the hard part. It's really tricky when you dive into this topic. It's just that you really got to know the two people and how the relationship ended.
say they dated for like 2 months, right?
Mhm.
They're just like dating for 2 months, and they're like, "Yeah, this isn't really working out. Like, let's just like move on." And like, yeah, 2 months
just end it.
relationship, and then both of them were like, "Yeah, like we're not really clicking. Like, let's just move on."
I guess it's not that bad because since it's just like a really short duration, it's not like a 3-year relationship where like they definitely had rolling in there, you know.
I think it depends, like how. Okay, even though it was like 2 months, I think it depends how far they got in 2 months.
Like what they've done together.
Yeah, like what have they done? Like, were they just like holding hands, hanging out, like or whatever, or were they like more intimate?
Doing
like,
the devil's tango.
I think if they cross like long boundaries like that, I don't know. It's still a little iffy. I guess it all kind of falls back to like how your significant other feels. Like, are they okay with it? If not, then like, should you really be doing it?
I mean, yeah, makes sense.
You know,
I mean, of course, almost all these scenarios is always heavily dependent on your significant other, but also a little bit on the other receiving end of whoever it may be they're interacting with.
yeah. It depends what they're saying. If they're like talking and one's being like flirty still, then it's obviously like a red flag. That's a little too much. That's weird.
Mm.
That's like borderline cheating at that point.
Oh yeah,
Or maybe
yeah,
it is
sure.
cheating at that point. Is that cheating?
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. Next topic. He's not on. Next topic. Next topic.
Oh.
Scenario number 4. Okay.
Okay.
Is admiring someone attractive considered cheating?
I'd say it's heavily depending on how the person reacts to the overall admiration of the other person. What the hell?
Continue.
Say like I'm in a relationship and I'm admiring Wonho, right? You know Wonho?
No.
Do you know Hwasa?
No.
Scarlett Johansson?
Yes.
Black Widow?
Yes, I know.
Yeah, okay. Let's use Black Widow.
Okay.
So say I'm in a relationship and I'm with my girlfriend and some topic popped up with Scarlett Johansson, right? Or like where we're watching like the Avengers. I'm like, damn, she's hot. Right?
You're gonna say that? With your girlfriend nearby?
I mean, jokingly, but it's just admiring the, the person. It's not like, oh, I straight up want to like, like, no, I'm not going to do that. But like, like it's just the actor, right? Like you can admire like their overall looks and whatnot, but you're not straight up like gawking over them. I don't know. How do you feel about it?
I think so too. As long as you're not like, hey, look, it's a cat.
Okay.
I think as long as you're not like you're not obsessing over them.
Yeah, correct.
Like, okay, obviously you can be like a fan, or okay, say it's like a celebrity, right? You can be like a fan or whatever. You can be like, oh wow, like she's attractive, he's attractive, whatever, right? But like, I don't know, if you're like obsessing over them, if nonstop all you're doing is talking about them, like you got wallpapers and like photos of them everywhere, like, and that's like your whole personality, that's like a different story, right?
Like that's straight up an obsession and addiction.
Yeah, it's a little weird. I'm not gonna lie.
Like this a fine line between like admiring, and a straight up obsession.
Admiring?
Sorry.
Admiring? No, I get what you mean though.
Yeah.
What if it was like someone like in public, like just normal? It wasn't like a celebrity or anything. Say you were there with your girlfriend, and or like she was there, right? You guys were together in public, and she's like, "Oh, like that guy is attractive," and she points out like some random dude. How you feeling?
Damn, that guy's probably a little attractive too.
I think it boils down though to like how weird is it, right? Like you can find someone attractive and like
I mean like respectfully you find them attractive. It's not like straight up like what I said earlier.
Yeah, I think that's like a normal natural thing. But if you're like obsessing over it and like levitating towards that person, that's a little weird. Next scenario. Excuse me.
Scenario number 5. What do you think about significant others going out to the clubs with their friends?
Back then, probably like years ago, I would have like, during my like insecure days, right? Like I was, first new into like relationships, like wasn't really like, didn't know how to feel, right? A little more insecure. I think I would have said I didn't like it, wasn't a fan of it. Like the thought of like a significant other going out to like a club. Like a club is already like one of those like, yeah, it's a fun place, but I feel like it's more of it's a place where a lot of like single people go, right? And it's a place where a lot of people like go.
There's always a purpose of, or a reason behind them always going to the club.
Yeah, like it's a place. Yeah, it's a place where people go to like. Sometimes like they go to meet someone, right? Like you go to bars. Like, obviously, not everyone goes for that, right? You go for bars, you drink, your friends, whatever. But, like some people go there for like to find someone, right? But hey, get off me. I think now being a little more grown up. I don't think it's that bad. I think it kind of just depends on like your own relationship. Like, do you trust your significant other? Like, do you trust them enough to like be okay with them going out? Which you should, right? If you're dating someone, you should trust them, right? Because like, what's the point of dating someone if you don't really trust them, right?
Correct, makes sense.
But I mean, like, if you trust them enough, like, I don't think there's anything to worry about, unless like they're going out with like the wrong company. But like, I feel like most guys, when their girl goes out, it's not really like them being worried or concerned that their girl is going to do something. It's the concern of like other guys doing something, right? Because like
like the intentions of other guys. Like, of course, you're not there. You're not able to actually like be present whenever something actually does go down.
Yeah, like I don't know. Honestly, a lot of guys don't trust other guys, and for good reason. But I think it just depends, right? Like if you're significant other, like if you trust her like her responsibility, I guess, to like, just be safe. And she's going out with good company. Makes sense to me. Completely fine with me.
Mm.
But I mean, me a few years ago would have said differently, just because insecurity issues.
Yeah, I would have to agree with your point. It's always heavily dependent on your partner. Like, you're able to trust them enough to know they're smart enough to know that they should not be doing certain things out in public without you being there, or say they have the right friends around them, or like very bad influencing people.
I had this friend once where he was like out, in the club, and like they were like both trusting each other for like their relationship or whatever,
Mm.
and like things were going good, right? And then like one day, like something just like happened at the club, right?
Mhm.
That completely like tanked her trust for him, like completely. Like whenever he was out now, she was always like, "Oh, like is he doing something or
Uh-huh.
whatever?" I think that's a key thing, right? Like, has your significant other like done something to give you like mistrust or whatever whenever they go out? Hopefully, they're doing okay.
Are you sure?
Actually, I don't think they're doing okay.
Probably not.
Probably not, but oh well. Well, that
You don't
concludes it.